The medical bay lights flickered in the abandoned hospital. Blood dripped onto the cold floor. On the metal table lay the huge body of Surgeon Ursa 719. He was not human. He was a war bear, a creature made by alien science to fight for the Galactic Confederacy. 3 smoking holes marked his thick brown fur. The alien doctors had just left. They did not care if he lived or died now. Disobedient units are not worth saving, one had said as they walked away. Let him die as an example. The war bear's chest rose and fell slowly. His breathing was weak. Each breath pushed more dark blood from his wounds. Dr. Kim watched from her hiding spot in the air vent above. She had been there for hours, waiting for the alien doctors to leave. Now she had her chance. She dropped down silently, her small body making little noise as she landed. At 32 years old, Dr. Kim was one of the last human doctors still allowed to work. The aliens kept her alive because she was skilled with her hands. But they watched her closely. She should not be here. She should not help the enemy. The war bears had killed thousands of humans since the invasion 5 years ago. They had destroyed cities and torn apart families. Kim's own parents had died when war bears attacked their town. Yet here she was, moving closer to the fallen beast. Why am I doing this? She whispered to herself. She knew why. Earlier that day, she had seen something impossible. This war bear, this Ursa 719, had been ordered to kill a group of human children hiding in the ruins. Kim had watched from her clinic window as the massive creature had turned to its alien commander and done the unthinkable. It had said, no. One word, one act of disobedience. The alien commander had shot the war bear 3 times without hesitation. Then they had dragged its body away. Kim reached the table and looked down at the bear's face. War bears were not natural animals. The aliens had made them bigger, stronger, and smarter than Earth's bears. This one was over 7 feet tall when standing. Its claws could tear through metal. But now it looked weak and broken. She touched its fur carefully. It was warm. The bear's eyes suddenly opened, yellow and bright with pain. Kim jumped back in fear. Kill me. The bear spoke in a deep, rough voice. Kim's heart beat fast. War bears could speak simple words, but they were not supposed to think for themselves. They were weapons, not people. Yet this one had refused an order. This one had chosen. No, she answered firmly. I will not kill you. The bear tried to move but was too weak. Why? Help. Kim took out her medical tools from her hidden bag. You saved those children. Now I will try to save you. Footsteps sounded in the hallway outside. The aliens were coming back. Kim had only minutes before they discovered her. This will hurt, she warned as she began to dig into the first bullet wound with her tools. The bear growled in pain but did not fight her. The first bullet was deep. It was not a normal bullet. It was designed to stop the bear's special healing powers. As Kim worked, she heard the aliens getting closer. Stay quiet, she whispered. If they find us, we both die. The bullet finally came free, covered in blood and glowing with strange blue light. Kim dropped it into a metal container. 2 more to go, she said, wiping sweat from her face. Then we need to get you somewhere safe. The bear's eyes showed confusion. Why human? Care. Kim started on the second bullet as the footsteps grew louder. Because, she said quietly, if you can choose to disobey cruel orders, then maybe there's hope for all of us. The door handle turned. Time had run out. The door handle turned. Kim froze with her bloody tools still in the war bear's wound. There was nowhere to hide. She stood between the bear and the door, ready to face whatever came through. The door opened slowly. A young man peered in, his face thin and dirty. It was not an alien, but Ta, another human doctor who worked in the hospital. Kim, what are you doing? He whispered, eyes wide at the sight of the war bear. Are you crazy? That thing will kill you when it gets stronger. Close the door, Kim ordered. Relief washed over her, but danger still surrounded them. I need your help. Ta shut the door quietly and locked it. He moved closer, keeping his distance from the injured bear. They are searching the upper floors, Ta said. The commander wants to make sure this one is dead. We have maybe 10 minutes. Kim nodded and returned to digging out the second bullet. The bear watched them both with intelligent eyes. Why second human? The bear asked weakly. Tai jumped at the sound of the bear's voice. It can talk, not just repeat orders. He saved children today, Kim explained as she worked. He said no when ordered to kill them. That's why they shot him. Blood covered Kim's hands as she finally removed the second bullet. The bear growled in pain but stayed still. Where will you take him? Tai asked, still keeping his distance. They will kill you both if they find you. The tunnels, Kim said. Elder Sue's resistance group uses the old subway tunnels. We need to get him there before the aliens return. Ta shook his head but moved closer. You always take the biggest risks, Kim. He took out a small bottle from his pocket. Here, this will help with the pain and keep him quiet during transport. Kim injected the medicine into the bear's arm. The huge creature's breathing steadied. One more bullet, she said, working faster now. Tai, check if the service elevator still works. Tai left to check the hallway. The bear's eyes followed Kim's movements as she dug for the final bullet. Why risk for enemy? The bear asked again. Kim paused for a moment. Are you my enemy? You chose not to kill when ordered. That makes you something else. Maybe an ally. The bear was silent as Kim removed the last bullet. All three strange bullets now sat in the metal container, still glowing with blue light. My name, Ursa 719. The bear said slowly. I'm Kim, she replied, wrapping his wounds with clean bandages. Can you stand? Tai returned, pushing a large laundry cart. Elevator works, but we need to hurry. I heard them on the stairs. Together, Kim and Tai helped the massive bear into the cart. Even injured, he was incredibly heavy. They covered him with dirty sheets. Stay quiet, Ursa, Kim said. We're going to get you out of here. Ta looked nervous. The tunnels are 3 blocks away. How will we move him that far? My truck is behind the hospital, Kim said. We can use that. They pushed the cart into the hallway. The hospital was dark and quiet, but they could hear voices from above. Alien voices, angry and searching. The elevator ride felt like forever. Every sound made them jump. The bear remained silent under the sheets, following Kim's order perfectly. When they reached the basement, they moved quickly through the dark halls. Ta kept looking back, expecting aliens to appear at any moment. Almost there, Kim whispered as they pushed the heavy cart toward the loading dock doors. Outside, the night air was cool. Kim's old truck waited in the shadows. As they loaded the bear into the back, covered with more sheets and boxes, a spotlight swept across the parking lot. Patrol ship, Ta whispered. Get in and drive slowly. Don't attract attention. Kim nodded. Are you coming? Ta shook his head. I need to stay. If they find out he's missing, someone needs to create a false trail. He looked at the bear in the truck. Be careful, Kim. We don't know what we're dealing with here. Thank you, Ta, Kim said, climbing into the driver's seat. Stay safe. As Kim drove away from the hospital, Ursa 719 watched the human who had saved him. No one had ever shown him kindness before. He did not understand it, but something inside him was changing. The alliance between a human doctor and a war bear had begun. Kim drove slowly through the empty streets of Seoul. Curfew had emptied the roads hours ago. Only military vehicles were allowed out now, and her old truck with fake medical service papers might not fool a close inspection. In the back, hidden under boxes and sheets, Ursa 719 lay still. The war bear's breathing was steady but weak. The medicine Ta had given him helped with pain, but the wounds were serious. Kim needed to get him somewhere safe to finish proper treatment. A patrol ship flew overhead, its searchlights sweeping the streets. Kim kept driving at the same slow pace. Acting nervous would only draw attention. 2 more blocks, she whispered, knowing the bear could hear her. Stay still. The entrance to the tunnels was hidden in an old parking garage. Kim drove down the ramp and parked in a dark corner. She waited, watching for any sign they had been followed. After 5 minutes of silence, she got out and walked to the back of the truck. "Can you move?" she asked quietly. The bear pushed off the sheets. His massive form filled the truck bed. "Yes," he said, his voice stronger than before. "Where are we?" "A safe place," Kim answered. "Or I hope it will be. Follow me and stay quiet. The resistance fighters might shoot first if they see you." Ursa climbed out of the truck, even hunched over in pain. He stood taller than Kim. His wounded side was dark with blood, but the bleeding had slowed. Kim led him to what looked like a solid concrete wall. She pressed her hand against a hidden panel. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a narrow tunnel with dim lights. "This way," she said, entering the passage. The bear followed, his large body barely fitting in the human-sized tunnel. The wall closed behind them, leaving no trace they had been there. They walked for 10 minutes through twisting passages. The bear moved more slowly as they went, his strength fading. Kim worried he might collapse before they reached safety. "Almost there," she said, trying to encourage him. Suddenly, bright lights shone in their faces. 3 humans with guns stepped forward from side passages. "Stop right there," Kim said, a stern voice. It was Elder Sue, the leader of this section of the resistance. The old man's face showed shock when he saw what followed her. "What have you done?" The 3 fighters aimed their weapons at the warbear. Ursa growled but made no move to attack. "He saved children today," Kim explained quickly. "The aliens shot him for disobedience. He refused a direct order to kill. I removed the control bullets, but he needs medical care." "It's a trick," said one of the fighters, a young woman named Jie. "Warbears don't disobey. They're programmed not to." "This one did," Kim insisted. "I saw it myself." Elder Sue studied the injured bear with narrowed eyes. "If this is true, it changes everything we thought we knew about them." "Bring him," Sue decided after a long moment, "but he will be guarded at all times. If he makes one wrong move, we shoot." Kim nodded in agreement. It was the best she could hope for. They led Ursa deeper into the tunnel system. Other resistance fighters stepped back in fear and surprise as the massive warbear passed. Many reached for weapons, but Elder Sue's presence kept them from firing. Finally, they reached a large chamber that had once been a subway station. Now it served as the main base for this cell of the resistance. Hundreds of people lived here, hiding from alien patrols above. "Set up a medical area in the storage room," Sue ordered. "It's the only space big enough for him." As they prepared the space, Ursa watched the humans with curious eyes. He had been trained to hunt and kill these people, yet here they were, helping him despite their fear. "Why resistance help?" he asked Kim as she cleaned his wounds. "Because if you can change," she answered, "maybe others like you can too. And we need all the help we can get." For the first time in his engineered life, Ursa felt something new. 3 days passed in the underground resistance base. Kim rarely left the storage room where Ursa stayed. She slept on a small cot next to his makeshift bed, checking his wounds every few hours. The warbear healed faster than any human, but the special bullets had slowed his natural healing powers. On the morning of the 4th day, Kim woke to find Ursa sitting up, looking at a book. It was a medical text with pictures of warbear anatomy that Ta had smuggled to them from the hospital. "This wrong," Ursa said, pointing at a drawing of internal organs. His voice was clearer now, stronger. "Heart here." He touched the center of his chest. "Not here." He pointed to where the book showed it. Kim sat up, surprised by the improvement in his speech. "The aliens don't share accurate information about your kind with human doctors. We have to learn from dead specimens. Ursa nodded slowly. Many dead. Many like me. Kim moved closer, checking the healing wounds. The fur was growing back over pink scars. How do you feel today? Better, the bear answered. Think more clear now. Words, easier. The door opened and Elder Sue entered with a young man named Jun, who carried a tray of food. Jun placed the tray down and backed away quickly, still afraid of the war bear. Our scouts report the aliens are still searching for you, Sue told Ursa. They have doubled patrols in the city. They seem very concerned about a missing war bear. Not missing, Ursa said. Escaped. Sue raised his eyebrows at the bear's improved speech. Why did you disobey that order? Why save those children? You have killed many humans before. Ursa was quiet for a long moment. Not remember all before. Mind. Cloudy when bullets in. Orders come. Must obey. Like voice and head. He touched the back of his neck. But voice getting weaker. Started seeing. Seeing children as children, not targets. The control bullets, Kim said excitedly. They must contain some kind of technology that affects his mind. Now that they're removed, he's becoming more aware. If that's true, Sue said thoughtfully, then the aliens used these bullets to control all war bears. It's not just weapons, it's mind control. Ursa stood up slowly, his massive head nearly touching the ceiling. The human stepped back nervously. Want to show something, the bear said. He moved to the corner where his torn uniform lay. From a hidden pocket, he pulled out a small metal disc. What is that? Kim asked, moving closer. Memory, Ursa explained. Not given to me. Taken from dead alien commander. Has information about war bears. About my kind. Sue took the disc carefully. Can we read this? Need special device, Ursa said. In alien command centers only. Jun, who had been silent until now, spoke up. I might be able to help. Before the invasion, I worked with alien technology. If it's similar to other alien data storage, I might be able to build something to read it. Sue looked at Jun with surprise. You never mentioned this skill before. Never seemed useful until now, Jun admitted. For the first time since they had met him, Ursa's face changed expression. Something like hope showed in his eyes. If true, the bear said, can learn about others like me. Maybe help them. Kim looked from Ursa to Jun to Sue. If there are more war bears questioning orders, if this isn't just a one-time event, then we might have a new ally against the aliens, Sue finished her thought. One they never expected. Sue turned to Jun. Get whatever you need to read this disc. Make it your top priority. As Jun left with the disc, Kim turned back to Ursa. There's something I've been wanting to ask you. Do you have a name? Not just a number. The bear looked confused. Ursa 719 is designation. War bear is not given names. Would you like one? Kim asked. A real name. For a long moment, the war bear was silent, thinking about the question. Then he nodded slowly. Yes, he said. Would like. Name. 2 days later, Jun called for a meeting in the main chamber of the underground base. His face showed both excitement and worry as people gathered around a table with strange equipment. Kim and Ursa stood together at the back. The war bear now able to walk without pain. I managed to build a reader for the alien disc, Jun announced, pointing to a device made from salvaged parts. It took some trial and error, but I think it works now. Elder Sue nodded. Show us what you found. Jun pressed a button on the device. A blue light appeared above it, showing alien writing and pictures. Most humans could not read the alien language, but Ursa stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the images. Can you understand this? Kim asked him. Yes, Ursa replied. War bears taught to read alien language. For following written orders. As Ursa looked at the information, his body became very still. His eyes widened with what looked like shock. What does it say? Sue pressed. Not what I thought, Ursa said slowly. War bears not made by aliens. War bears were a people, a real species. The room fell silent as everyone tried to understand what this meant. You mean you weren't created in labs? Kim asked. You existed before the aliens came. Ursa pointed to images that showed a planet with forests and mountains. This is Nara, home world of my kind. We were free people, called Nara people. More images showed bear-like beings living in villages, using tools, wearing clothes. Then came pictures of alien ships and weapons. Aliens came to Nara long ago, Ursa continued, his voice growing stronger as he learned about his own history. Conquered my people, changed them with science, made them into weapons. How long ago? Asked Kim. 300 years, Ursa answered, reading from the data. Many generations, memory of freedom lost. The next images showed how the aliens had changed the Nara people, making them bigger, stronger, and installing the control devices in their brains. Control bullets keep us slaves, Ursa explained. Make us forget who we were. But Earth air damages bullets over time. Control getting weaker for all war bears here. This news sent a wave of whispers through the gathered humans. If all war bears were losing their programming, everything could change. That's why they shot you, Kim realized. They knew you were breaking free of control. They must be terrified that others will follow. Others already questioning, Ursa confirmed, still reading from the data. Aliens worried, planning to replace all control bullets in war bears on Earth. Elder Sue stepped forward. How many war bears are stationed on Earth? 5,000, Ursa answered. And how many might be like you, aware enough to question orders? Ursa thought for a moment. Cannot know exact number, but report says 17 incidents of disobedience in last month. Growing problem for aliens. Sue turned to the gathered resistance fighters. If we could reach these other war bears, remove their control bullets, we could have 5,000 new allies, finished Kim. Allies the aliens never expected. Or we could all be killed, said a voice from the crowd. It was Dewey, still suspicious of Ursa. How do we know this isn't a trick? How do we find these other bears without getting caught? Ursa turned to Jia. Not trick. I can help find others. Know patrol routes, schedules. Know which war bears show signs of freedom. And I can remove the bullets, Kim added. I've done it once. I can teach others. The room filled with excited talk as people began to see real hope for the first time in years. Elder Sue raised his hands for quiet. This is dangerous. Very dangerous. But it might be our best chance. He looked at Ursa. If we help free your people, will you fight with us against the aliens? Ursa stood to his full height, his voice clear and certain. Aliens stole our world, our freedom, our true names. Made us kill for them. Yes, Narha will fight. Kim moved to stand beside Ursa. Then we need to start planning. And first, you need a proper name. What name? Asked Ursa. Kim smiled. In our oldest stories, there was a great bear in the stars. A protector. His name was Urson. Would you accept that name? The war bear, the Nara, nodded slowly. Urson, he said, testing the sound. Yes, good name. Free name. 2 weeks passed as the resistance made plans. Urson, as the war bear was now called, worked closely with Kim and the others. He drew maps of alien bases and patrol routes. He explained how war bears were housed and controlled. Each day, his speech improved and his understanding grew deeper. Late one night, Elder Sue called Kim, Urson, Jun, and 5 other fighters to a small room for a meeting. We have a chance to rescue more war bears, Sue said, pointing to a map on the table. Our scouts found 3 being held at this facility. They are scheduled for reprogramming tomorrow. Reprogramming means new control bullets, Urson explained. We'll make them full slaves again, erase any free thoughts. Kim studied the map. This is close to the old hospital where I worked. I know that area. That's why you're leading this mission, Sue told her. You and Urson. The room went quiet. No human had ever gone on a mission with a war bear before. Are we sure about this? Asked Ha, an older fighter who had lost family to war bears. Sending him outside is dangerous. I trust him, Kim said firmly. And we need him. Only Urson can talk to the other war bears, convince them to come with us. Jun spread out detailed plans of the facility. I've created 3 more sets of tools for removing control bullets. Kim has trained you all how to use them. If we can get to the war bears, we can free them. Sue looked at each person in the room. This is our most dangerous mission yet. If you succeed, we gain powerful allies. If you fail, we will not fail, Urson said. He stood tall and proud, no longer hunched in pain or confusion. Freedom calls to all Nara. They will listen. The next night, Kim and Urson led the small team through dark streets toward the alien facility. They moved silently, using the shadows for cover. Urson wore a large human coat that partly hid his bare form from distant view. When they reached the outer fence, Jun used a device he had built to disable the alarms for 30 seconds. They slipped through quickly and reached the side of the building. Guards here and here, Urson whispered, pointing to corners of the building. 2 aliens, 1 human helper. Ha, and 2 others moved to take care of the guards without raising alarms. Kim, Urson, and Jun waited tensely until they saw the signal light flash 3 times. Clear, Jun whispered. Now we have 15 minutes before the next patrol. They entered through a service door. Inside, Urson led them through halls he seemed to know well. All holding facilities built same way, he explained. War bears kept in lower level. They reached a heavy door with alien writing. Jun connected a small device to the lock panel. After a tense minute, the door slid open. Inside, 3 war bears sat in large cells. They were awake, and all turned to look at the intruders. Their eyes widened at the sight of Urson walking freely with humans. Brothers, Urson said in a deep rumbling language Kim had never heard before. The war bears replied in the same tongue, their voices confused and wary. What are they saying? Kim whispered to Jun. He's speaking their native language, Jun replied. The language of Nara. Urson continued talking to the war bears, showing them his healed wounds where the control bullets had been. He pointed to Kim and the others. I tell them truth, Urson explained to the humans. Show them humans helped me. Tell them aliens lied about who we are. One of the war bears stood and approached the cell door. He was slightly smaller than Urson, but had a long scar across his face. He studied the humans with intelligent eyes. This one named Koru, Urson said, already questioning orders. Other 2 newer to freedom thoughts. Jun worked quickly to open the cells while he kept watch at the door. Kim prepared her medical tools. We need to hurry, she said. If we can remove at least 1 control bullet from each of them, it will help clear their minds. As the first cell opened, the war bear named Koru stepped out cautiously. You trust humans? He asked Urson in broken human speech. These humans, yes, Urson replied. They free me. Show me truth. Narha not meant to be weapons. An alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Her rushed back from the door. Patrol came early, she shouted. We have been seen. Jun finished opening the other cells, and the 2 remaining war bears emerged. No time for surgery now, Kim said. We need to run. Which way? Asked Ha, weapon ready. Urson conferred quickly with Koru. Back exit, Urson said. Through testing rooms. Koru knows way. They ran through corridors, the sound of alien voices and weapons growing louder behind them. The newly freed war bears followed, still confused but trusting Urson. They burst into a large room filled with strange equipment. Kim recognized some of it as medical tools used for painful experiments. The war bears growled at the sight. The high-pitched sound filled the room, driving the newly freed war bears to their knees. Director Park smiled coldly at Kim. "You see, they are weapons, not people. They obey us." Kim glanced at Urson, who stood beside her, in pain but still standing. "Not all of them," she said. Park's smile faded as he noticed Urson's resistance. "Impossible. The emergency signal controls all war bears." "Not this one," Urson growled. "Bullets out. Mind free." With a roar, Urson charged forward. The aliens fired their weapons, but Urson moved with surprising speed. He knocked 2 aliens down before they could aim properly. The 3rd alien backed away in fear. And the other fighters engaged the remaining guards. Kim ran to the fallen war bears, who were still clutching their heads in pain. "Jun," she shouted, "can you stop that signal?" Jun rushed to the control panel at the side of the room. "I can try." Director Park pulled out a weapon of his own, aiming at Jun. "Stay away from that." Kim fired her gun, hitting Park in the shoulder. He fell back with a cry of pain. "This is for all the war bears you helped torture," she said. Jun worked quickly at the control panel, connecting one of his devices to it. After a tense moment, the high-pitched sound stopped. The 3 war bears slowly rose to their feet, eyes clear again. "We have to get out now," he called, finishing off the last guard. "More will come soon." Kim turned to the 3 war bears. "Will you come with us? We can remove your control bullets and give you freedom." The scared one, Koru, nodded. "Show us true freedom," he said in rough human speech. Jun pointed to a rear exit. "This way. I've disabled the alarms on this route." They ran through dark corridors, the sound of alarms fading behind them. Urson led the way, with the other war bears following. Kim stayed close to them, ready with medical tools if needed. When they reached the outside, the night air felt cool and fresh. They moved quickly through back alleys, avoiding main streets where patrols would be searching. "We cannot go straight to the base," he said. "They will track us." "I know a place," Kim replied. "An old medical clinic. We can hide there while I remove at least 1 bullet from each of them." They made their way to an abandoned building that had once been a small clinic. The windows were boarded up, and dust covered everything inside. Kim quickly set up a space for surgery. "Koru first," she said. "He seems most aware already." The scared war bear lay down on a table that creaked under his weight. Kim prepared her tools while Urson spoke to him in their native language. "What are you telling him?" Kim asked. "Explaining procedure," Urson replied. "Telling him bullets control mind, keep memories away. Telling him about Nara, our true home." Kim worked carefully, finding and removing the first control bullet from behind Koru's ear. The small metal device glowed blue, just like the ones from Urson. "1 down," she said. "This will help clear your thoughts, Koru. The other bullets we can remove later, at the base." She moved on to the other 2 war bears, removing 1 bullet from each. As the effects began to fade, the bears became more alert, more questioning. They spoke to Urson in their language, asking many questions. He kept watch at the window. "Patrol ships are searching the area. We need to move soon." Jun received a message on his communication device. "Elder Su says more resistance cells have heard about our plan. Groups in other cities want to help free war bears in their areas." Kim finished bandaging the last war bear. "What's your name?" she asked him. The bear seemed confused by the question. "Designation TB-425. Would you like a real name?" she asked. "A free name?" The war bear looked at Urson, who nodded encouragingly. "Yes," TB-425 said slowly. "Free name good. In our old stories, there was a bear who guarded the mountains. His name was Doran." The war bear tested the name. "Doran. I am Doran." The 3rd war bear, smaller but with intelligent eyes, asked, "Name for me too." Kim smiled. "How about Mako? It means faithful in an old human language." "Mako," repeated the bear. Good name. Urson looked at his 3 freed brothers with pride. Now 4 Narha free. Soon more. Jum's communication device buzzed again. Big news from Sioux. Resistance groups report war bears in 3 other cities showing signs of disobedience. The control is failing everywhere. The aliens will be desperate, Ho warned. They will try to replace all control bullets quickly. Then we must work faster, Kim said. We need to get these 3 back to the base and plan our next moves. Urson nodded. Word will spread among war bears. When control weak, thoughts come. Questions come. A sudden explosion shook the building. I looked out the window. They're bombing the area. They must know we're close. We need to split up, Kim decided quickly. Different routes back to base. Urson stood tall. I lead Koru, Doran, and Mako. No safe paths. I'll go with them, Kim said. The rest of you, go the usual way. As they prepared to leave, Koru approached Kim. His eyes showed new understanding, new awareness. Human doctor saved us, he said slowly. Why help enemies? Kim touched his massive arm gently. Because sometimes the real enemy isn't who you were told it was. Sometimes freedom just needs one chance to grow. Another explosion hit closer. The ground shook beneath them. Time to go, Urson said. Freedom waits. As they slipped out into the night, Kim realized that what had started with one act of mercy, digging bullets from a fallen war bear, had grown into something much bigger. A revolution had begun. And the aliens were right to be afraid. 1 month had passed since the rescue mission. The underground base had changed completely. Where once only humans lived in fear, now 12 Narha war bears moved freely among them. Each bear had received a name and had all control bullets removed. Elder Sioux called a meeting in the main chamber. Humans and Narha gathered together, no longer separated by fear. The aliens know what we are doing, Sioux announced. They are replacing control bullets in all war bears across the city. We must act now or lose our chance forever. General Park, the leader of all Korean resistance forces, had come to see the freed war bears himself. The old soldier stood beside Sioux, looking at the gathered Narha with wonder. I have fought against your kind for 5 years, Park said to Urson. I never thought I would fight beside you. Urson nodded respectfully. War not our choice. Freedom is. General Park turned to the gathered fighters. We have a plan to strike the main alien command center in Seoul. If we can control their communication systems, we can send a message to all war bears in the region. Jun stepped forward with a device in his hands. I have created a signal that will disrupt the control bullets temporarily. Not as good as removing them, but it will give the war bears a chance to think for themselves. For how long? Asked Kim. About 1 hour, Jun replied. Enough time for them to choose sides. Urson spoke next. I will lead Narha fighters. Many war bears already question orders. Signal will help them remember who they truly are. General Park nodded. My forces will attack from the south as a distraction. Your team will enter from the north and reach the communication center. The plan was set. The next day, Kim found herself riding in a stolen alien transport with Urson and 5 other Narha. They wore pieces of alien armor taken from fallen soldiers. Human fighters followed in other vehicles. The streets of Seoul were nearly empty. Civilians had been ordered to stay inside as alien forces searched for resistance fighters. The stolen transport passed through checkpoints easily, the guards not looking closely at the disguised war bears. They reached the outer fence of the command center as explosions sounded from the south. General Park's distraction had begun. Guards are moving to the south side. He reported from her position watching the fence. Now is our chance. They moved quickly, cutting through the fence and entering the compound. Alien soldiers ran past them toward the south gate, not noticing the infiltrators in the confusion. This way, Urson said, leading them toward a tall building in the center. Communication systems on top floor. As they entered the building, an alarm sounded. They have been spotted. Keep moving, Kim urged. We need to reach the top. They fought their way up, floor by floor. The freed Nara were powerful fighters, now using their strength to protect humans instead of harm them. Kim stayed in the middle of the group, carrying Jun's signal device. On the 5th floor, they met heavy resistance. Alien soldiers with advanced weapons blocked their path. Behind them stood 3 war bears with fresh control bullets, eyes empty of thought. Brothers, Urson called to them in the Nara language. Remember who you are. The controlled war bears did not respond. They charged forward on command, attacking Urson and the other freed Nara. We cannot hurt them, Urson said as he defended himself. They are not enemies, but victims. The battle for Seoul was turning in their favor, but the war for Earth and for the future of both humans and Nara had only just begun.